Welcome back, you're watching The Game. It takes more than a superstar to win in today's NBA, and with the Denver Nuggets hoisting their first trophy, they seem to have found their dynamic duo. But where do they rank among the top tandems in the league? Now with us to give his list is NBA Philippines All-Star analyst, Coach Willie Wilson. Coach Willie, welcome back to The Game. Such an honor as always.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, let's start it off. Your ranking, Coach. So from number 1 to 5, let's start it off with the top of the list. Obviously, you had to put this on that list. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. I mean, how potent is this numbers-wise? Crazy numbers for the both of them.
Well, you can argue a ring, you know, as Beyonce said. Put a ring on it. But again, is Murray a superstar? We don't know. He's only done it for 1 year. He just came back from the ACL. But what I will argue is he is the yin to Jokic yang. You know, they complement each other so well. One does, you know, the stuff inside, can also stretch it outside in Jokic. But then because of Murray's gravity and his big shot-making ability, he just takes so much pressure off of Jokic.
I love a conversation we had right before we went on air, which I want to bring you on to here, is all-time-wise, are they already the best NBA duo, just looking at Jokic and Murray?
They can be. They can be, definitely, with the way that they just put a clinic on in these playoffs. It's really something that you can argue.
I think you got to put them up there. I mean, historically, in terms of the numbers, they have the performance that they gave us is, you know,
it's special. It's
unworldly.
special. And right before we go to this next pair, I just want to say hello again to all of the Laker fans out there. Coach Willie,
we're back. We're going to talk about the Lakers again.
Ken, our producer, misses talking about this. Direct, Coach Willie, you have here LeBron James and Anthony Davis as your number 2. Why them in particular?
Okay, so we talk about the dynamic duo, okay? The 1-2 punch. Obviously, you have the other guys that come into play. And that was what was lacking for these Los Angeles Lakers. The 1-2 punch was always there, although they weren't always there at the same time for health reasons. But as you saw, starting off 2-10, ending up in the Western Conference Finals, it just so happened that they ran into the number 1 dynamic duo in the NBA. But keep in mind, you know, hypothetically, if ever they didn't have that 2-10 start or they had that better supporting cast, we may be seeing a different team with rings on their fingers.
Well, exactly, Coach, because, you know, as the number 7 seed in the playoffs, they still made it to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, Denver was just really tough this year, Coach. But do you think this duo, how many years do they still have, and why do you think, you know, this is the only ceiling for them?
I mean, with modern technology, I know that modern technology hasn't worked too well for AD. But with modern technology and the way LeBron is just aging like fine wine, I can see a huge bounce back here. Hopefully, we can keep the team together for the most part, with a few tweaks here and there. Kyrie Irving, but
shout out.
Well, let's see whether or not that's going to come true, because you never know. You never know with the Lakers. LeBron said he might want to, you know, retire.
But
we'll see.
LeBron ain't going anywhere. LeBron's not going anywhere.
So, Kevin Durant and Devin Booker is up next on Coach Willie's list for the Suns. This is honestly potentially could have been the highest scoring one in the entire list. They're at number 3 for you.
Well, I mean, Booker just went off the charts in the playoffs. Small sample size, okay? Durant was there, then got hurt. They lost a large amount of their supporting cast. DeAndre Ayton still working through some things over there. But like you said, potentially this dynamic duo, this 1-2 punch, can just, you know, put up a bunch of points, potentially around 70 points per game.
I mean, they set up office in the mid-range area these playoffs. I mean, crazy performance from these two. But you could also argue, Coach, that the chemistry wasn't there yet when the playoffs came, because KD came into the Phoenix Suns with an injury. Do you think this is going to be a very dynamic duo coming into the next season if, you know, the pieces are there? Chris Paul said that he was going to be out. I mean, Suns said that Chris Paul is going to be out.
I mean, with Chris Paul wasn't really there anyway, so I don't see that really making a difference. It's all about them picking their spots. You said that they set up camp in the mid-range. How can they set up camp together in the mid-range and complement each other, doing pretty much the same types of things?
You would get pushback from the Celtics fans who you put below this duo. Kevin Durant and Devin Booker a step ahead of the duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Why aren't they as high in your opinion?
Well, I mean, how many rings does Durant have? Okay, so I got to throw that in there.
How many real rings? Or
so maybe not rings are rings. Rings are rings.
A different episode.
Yeah, rings are rings. So the argument there is always going to, for me, it's going to be Durant has won it. Obviously, Booker has not yet. But the combination of Tatum and Brown, they have not. They've made it to the mountain.
Yeah.
But they have not made it to the mountain top. Right. Okay, so that's my argument for having them below Durant and Booker.
And Coach, what do you think of the way they complement each other? Because personally, I believe it's kind of redundant what they do. They both need the ball. They're not really off-ball scorers,
very
if
similar.
you can say, right? They're very similar, and we're not even sure if they're gonna run it back the next season. What do you think of this, tandem between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, especially in the playoffs, Coach?
Well, with the way the Celtics run their offense, it's a lot. It's isolation heavy.
Right.
NBA teams don't have too many, defensive stoppers. So you got to pick your poison. If you put your defensive stopper on Jason Tatum, then Jaylen Brown goes off. If you put him on Jaylen Brown, then Jason Tatum goes off. So in that aspect, they kind of complement each other. Wherein, hey, if you don't have it tonight, I got it.
Right.
So we have another duo that I honestly thought was unlikely or a bit weird when I first saw them together. Joel Embiid and James Harden. They had their moments this season. Obviously, didn't pan out for the two of them. James Harden could explode. He showed it to us again in the playoffs. But take a look at this tandem. Feels like there's still more that could have been gotten out of this duo.
Oh, a lot more. I mean, we got to talk about the health issue. Okay. Health issues for Embiid entering the playoffs, throughout the playoffs.
Yeah.
Throughout the year, health issues for James Harden. But when this tandem came together, we already foresaw that this would be the best pick and roll duo in the NBA with the way that James Harden can run it. And then you can't, really sag off of Embiid because he can hit that mid-range jumper.
Yep.
And if he's rolling hard to the basket, he's going to dunk it on your head or he's going to the free throw line.
Coach Willie, last season you could argue that, chemistry was, maybe a factor because James Harden came in a little bit late into the season. But this time they had a whole season together. But what's the next level? Do you think they should work on other things aside from doing what they do? Because
do they stick to this duo,
right? Because numbers-wise, they produce, but in terms of attitude, winning in the playoffs, Coach.
There's always going to be a few tweaks. They've already gotten rid of the head coach. Coach Doc Rivers has moved on. They're bringing in somebody new. Okay, so they're going to have some new, fresh ideas, ways to capitalize on the dominance that is Joel Embiid and the gravity that is James Harden. And I'm just so excited to see what they can come up with to make those guys click.
Couple of honorable mentions here. Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox of the Sacramento Kings are the first one. And, of course, the second one, who I want to focus on right before we go. It's the biggest what-if top duo here in a team that Coach Willie needed to show love to. Talking about the Clippers here, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Yeah, no love lost there. But, again, you got to show the respect for those two. Again, very, very potent scorers and top-tier defenders, and you don't really see that too often.
Yeah.
But the health issue again, PG, out. Kawhi gets hurt again in the playoffs. But if those two can put it together, definitely I see them in the top 5, possibly in the upper half of that top 5.
I think some Heat fans were looking for some Bam and Jimmy there, but that's for another. That's for another episode.
That's a different episode for sure. Coach Willie, really appreciate your time, and I can't believe you forgot about the Heat. You forgot about the Heat.
I did not forget about the Heat. They just did not, did not crack my top 5.
I got you, Coach. I appreciate you.